protesting police brutality. You know, a lot of time, well, for years this has been going on, but now there's cameras. With the police brutality, we're not getting the justice that we see with our white counterparts. Not only are we unjustly being killed, but then there's no justice afterwards in the courts. Police are getting off, they're basically murdering us in this case. So that's what we're protesting. We want to bring, you know, acknowledgement to it because a lot of people still don't believe that it's even happening.
Basically what she's saying, 136 women and men have been killed by police, and you know, it's heartbreaking, and a lot of people don't know the severity of it.
This is Kenneth S. with your Colfax News, and I am here today with
Ismail Latif, aka Brother Understanding.
We are down here at the Black Lives Movement, and there was a statement that was made by one of the young ladies during a feelings encounter, and she said that there was a lack of representation of black men for this particular event. Can you speak to that particular statement?
I will strive to. Yeah, I think that one, it's visibly obvious that there is an overwhelming majority of young black females that are involved in this movement. Just recently, within the past few days, I've been in New York and Philadelphia, and it's the same thing, particularly in New York. It's similar to here. There's an overwhelming number of young sisters involved in the movement, and this isn't new to this specific incident or a set of incidences that have happened. We are increasingly seeing a large number of young black women that are out in support of matters of injustice and practical and pragmatic ways to solve problems, and you know, and I think that is something that we can't kind of let go by, to not acknowledge that. And one of the young sisters acknowledged just the fact that there were a few more men, because there's so few men, and she was glad to see that. I definitely think it's an issue of young black males feeling disenfranchised. I also feel that many of the communication circles of young people are such that a lot of young brothers are really out of the loop. I don't think it's fair. A lot of the young people, period, are just showing fearlessness across the board. But the idea of hopelessness has also set into a lot of people where they say, well, what's the point? We're going to get together, we're going to hear a speech, and then what? And you really have to be around other people that have pragmatic ideas and have solution-oriented thinking, and not just knee-jerk reactive language to start to get some sort of sense of hope to want to get involved. So I think that it's a combination of things.
And so for this particular event, I know that earlier they came out with a list of things that they'd like to have addressed and asked for this particular agenda. Can you speak a little bit more to that narrative?
I can't speak about it specifically, other than I know that they released a 10-point program today, you know, where they're calling for investigations, you know, of rogue policing. They want it handled on the federal level, obviously, because one of the almost criminal acts is the ability that each of these entities, each of these precincts or cities or counties or states are able to isolate the incidences and investigate them based upon their own set of laws, when it clearly is in epidemic proportions across the United States. And so I know that's a key thing, is to have it under a federal guideline. So, and then the fundamental thing is freedom, justice, and equality. That's really the bottom line of the movement, because equality seems to be the issue. That every time the conversation is fine, being able to talk with each other and kick it doesn't seem to be a problem, but the issue of being dealt with equally and responded to through the justice system with equality is a key issue.
If a person wanted to learn more about this particular movement or agenda, or these types of social agendas, period, where could they go to find more information and get involved?
Well, one, obviously the internet. If you don't know somebody, I would go to blacklivesmatter.com. I would go to justiceorelse.com, which is another one, and that would probably lead you to a myriad of other websites. There's so many people doing things. There's wonderful groups of lawyers and attorneys. There's groups of medical professionals. There's so much. There's WeBuyBlack.com, which is one of many websites that is involved on the economic boycott which is really important. And I have to make this point because there's a lot of talk, particularly of young people, that the media is skewed regarding reporting on these stories. And the follow-up behind that is the fact that the media is funded by advertisers. And those advertisers' agendas, along with local producers, is what dictates the story you see. So you have to get into the pockets of those advertisers for them to say, well, maybe that's an issue that should be considered. And God willing, that would produce more of an investigative aspect of media to say, well, let's go ahead and look at this. But right now, what we're looking at in mass media is wherever the money is, that's where the story is. And that's what we're looking at in all these cities. As one man said earlier, all these issues are tied together. This homelessness, this gentrification, and this police brutality against black and brown people. And even who's being left out of the story right now, as all of these black bodies are being brought up in certain circles. We have a myriad of young Latinos, just 5 in the last week, that have been killed by police, and that is being used just to create division among those communities. And that's all because media attention is directed in a political way. It's a political season, but that money that's behind those same politicians, those advertisers, they want their outcome to happen. And that's what it is. It's not emotion, it's not justice, it's money. And so you got to hit people where their God is at, and in this case, God is money.
Wow. Well, those are some absolutely awesome words of wisdom, and I want to thank you for taking this brief moment to school me and the audience of your Colfax News as to what this stance is here today and the pulse of what's going on in our society and community today. Again, this is Kenneth S. with Brother Understanding, and I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is Kenneth S. with your Colfax News, and I am at the Civic Center Park with Shawray Hicks of
Impact Empowerment Group.
Okay, and we are down here at a activist rally with Black Lives Matter. Shawray, can you give me a little feedback about what you saw and feel after witnessing this event today?
Honestly, I was kind of shocked at the fact that there were so many young people that were affected by this. You know what I mean? And to see the passion in them, you know, a lot of them cried and a lot of them shed tears, and they gave great perspectives and point of views about their care and concern as far as the lives of young black men and the rate that they're losing.
Doesn't look suspicious when he's walking on the street. He's been stopped plenty of times before, and he's been shot by a police officer. And it's just scary. Or my nephews or my cousins or anything. Like, you don't even have to walk up to somebody and say, like, I got you. You can just look at them and know, like, I got you.
And so how does that impact you on a personal level, being a young black man yourself? What feedback would you give to the community or to black men as a collective with regards to how to engage the police and how to take what's going on in community today or nationally today?
Well, honestly, you know, you got to be mindful that first and foremost, our natural nature makes them feel like that puts them on the defense. And you might think that, you know, when you're having a conversation and you talk with your hands or you make gestures when you talk and all that, you got to understand that puts them on the defense, and they're trained automatically to take that as a threat. And a lot of these are extremists, and what I mean by that, they come from subculture groups like KKKs or some skinhead groups or something like that, and they join law enforcement to protect their actions, and they're utilizing that today, and that's why they're getting away with so much of this kind of crime that we face right now. I mean, what we would consider a crime, but to them, it's a line of duty, and you know, it's just a shame that we losing our life like that. You know what I mean? You know, especially from someone that we are supposed to look to as a resource. You know what I'm saying? They're treating us as if we're objects, and they're dehumanizing us, and they're killing us at will at alarming rates, and You know, something has to change, you know, it has to.
So if you could give your friends, family, peers, and constituents a bit of advice with regards to how to engage the police in a safe, compliant, but still a dignified, self-respecting way, what would that be?
From my personal experiences, I mean, you have to conduct yourself in a manner that doesn't seem threatening. And by that, I mean, you have to use your brain. You have to realize it's almost like talking to a bomb. You know what I mean? And any word that you say can detonate the bomb. So you're going to have to approach these situations very delicately and very calmly. You know what I mean? If there's certain things that you have to answer to, and then there's ways that you can answer to it. You know, cut all the small talk and all the joking, and be, you know, straightforward with your approach and your delivery. You know, give up your identification if necessary. You know, answer what necessary questions, but don't come off. You know, we have to learn how to turn off the nigga in us. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times being a nigga allow us the platform to be able to, you know, kind of come off with that, you know, just that old attitude. And when you're dealing with these people, you have to realize it's life and death, and that is not appropriate. That can get you killed. That can have you laid down. You can be the next, what's the brother's name? The brother that got killed out there in Louisiana. Or you could be the next brother that got killed out there in Minnesota. You know what I mean? Just because of the way you're dealing with your niggerish actions. You have to be aware of your conduct and deal with it appropriately in order to kind of make it through these situations. I mean, you can't really avoid them because law enforcement is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have these encounters. And when you have these encounters, you have to approach them in a dignified manner. You know, and there's a way to do it with self-respect. You know, answer questions, cut off small talk, get straight to the chase.
Does the organization that you work with give any types of educational seminars or information or, you know, classes on how to engage the police?
Actually, we don't, but it really probably is a good idea because that's something that they don't teach in school, is how to deal with police, and it's really a main factor to these young adults that's coming up today. It probably would be a good idea, and I'd be open to suggestions. Not only that, to anybody from the community who would like to, you know, support something like that, or, you know, help institute it, because we have to start waking our young people up so that they realize and understand that we're playing a dangerous game with these folks.
So if a person wanted to get in contact with you with some possible solutions or some advice or some ideas about how to create that type of curriculum, how would they get in contact with you?
You can come down and reach me. I'll be at the Mikasa building on 3399 Holly Street, Denver, Colorado, 80207, behind the Boys and Girls Club. I'll be there Monday through Friday from 11 to about 5:30. And a lot of times you can kind of catch me. You can hit me up on Facebook, Dreddy Goins, DM me at Twitter, Dreddy, Instagram, any of that. I'm on all that. Just Dreddy Goins if you want to reach out to me and really try to do some things to make a difference and have a positive impact in the community.